There's the pedal, and there's his 50. He'll be delighted about that. One in Test now, in one-day internationals as well.
Very good innings. Came in on his side. There's trouble. He's playing sensible cricket. Played in the areas where he's comfortable. There's a knock.
Big hit. Gone all the way. Just too short.
So another big shot to end the over. This over from Chris Harris has gone for 23. One list of his 9 overs in the spell.
That's beautifully struck. That's 6 more. Oram 6'6". He had to be 10'6" to even get a look at it. What an over. What an innings it's come to be for Zimbabwe. Smashing try.
So we've got a ball to go and 58 have come off the last 3 overs. Make that a couple more, I would suggest. In fact, Astel's going to struggle to save the boundary, and he hasn't. 4 more. The last has gone for 26. So some clean hitting from Sean Irvin, who's got to 31 off only 3 right at the end.
So instead of us going out there to look for a legend, pay him or her a visit and have a small chat like we normally do right here on the Legends. But today it is a different case, as we've managed to get a ticket, fly and drag this guy all the way from wherever he's based now and host him into the studio right here with me. I'm talking about our own Zimbabwean Tatenda Taibu, wicket keeper, batsman, and our captain. Hello Tatenda, and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Massy.
First thing first, who's Tatenda Taibu?
Well, it's quite a long story. It all started in the high-density suburbs of Highfield, where cricket was being introduced to the to the majority. It was seen as a minority sport, only played by the whites. So Zimbabwe Cricket Union back then had a program to extend the sport to the high-density suburbs, and Chipembe, where I used to learn from my primary school, was one of the targeted schools. So we had PE lessons, just being taught how to handle a cricket bat, how to bowl, how to throw. And my first coach, Stephen Mangongo, back then thought that I was very natural. I loved football, so I used to run away from cricket and go and play football, and he would always chase after me because he said I was very natural. Then one thing led to another until I was selected to be part of the development side that toured South Africa when I was in grade 6, and I did well. I became I was the best player in that tournament, or for our team at least. And we from there, just one thing after another, I kept getting selected for teams, getting selected for them. Then I later made the under 13 Zimbabwe side, then got a scholarship to Churchill, and from there I became I was selected for the under 14 side, under 14 Zimbabwe team. Then I was selected for the under 16 side when I was 1 year underage. So now I was starting to drift away from my other group, because I played with Stuart Matsikenyere, I played with Hamilton Masakadza, I played with Fusimuzi Sibanda, Prosper would say, Ayoto Chigumbura, Brendan Taylor. They came a bit later. So that's when I started to sort of draw away slightly from my friends, and that's the time I made my decision that I wanted to represent my country in the sport. So that's pretty much the background of Tatenda. And then there was a big surprise after I made the under 19 team when I was 2 years underage, and we toured Sri Lanka, where we had a World Cup there, and there was one of the players for Zimbabwe. His name is Paul Strain. So he was recovering from an injury. So he was given the task to be the under 19 coach, so that he would teach us how to be professional sports people. And he gave a really good report about me, and he said if Zimbabwe Cricket was looking for a guy to take over from Andrew Flower, who was the wicket keeper then, and he was the captain as well, and they said I was the guy to do it, and I was only about 16 years old. And then right from that time, I was then drafted into the national team as an understudy to Eddie Flower, and he played a huge role in my career, because he just took me under his wing. And taught me the trains and how to be a professional sports person.
Tatenda, I understand you broke the hearts of many Zimbabweans when you decided to quit cricket. What really happened?
Well, that's quite a long story on its own, because in life, as we are here on earth, there's always a missing link, where one asks themselves, where did I come from? What am I doing here on earth? And where am I going? And there came a time when I had to settle that question. And I knew that it was a spiritual question, because I'd achieved many things. I had many trophies. I made a lot of money. I was happily married I had a boy then, just TJ. And so I thought, after achieving all this, what then? Sometimes I still wake up on the wrong side of the bed. So that and that question could not be answered by anyone. And I remember I used to just hold my Bible and think, one day I'll find my answer in there. So it then got worse and worse, and it was a burden on my heart. And I would score 100, or I would break a record, and then I'll come back home with all these write-ups. I never really used to read the newspaper, but with all these headlines and write-ups, and I would think, yeah, tomorrow will come and I'll play another game and maybe do well or do badly, get criticism or get praises. Such is in the life of sport. So, but then the what then was still not answered. So I being my character, I just thought, why don't I search for that? So I started going on and reading the Bible and praying and going from church to church, different churches. I went to different churches because I just believed that the answer was there in the Bible. So everything started to fade away. So cricket became part of the venue that had to, the avenue that had to fade away too, because I'm a single-eyed person. So I started to draw myself away from cricket and draw myself away from all the other businesses that I was doing, and the passion about that I also have about real estate. And so I started drawing myself away from all these things and concentrating on that issue until I felt that I could. Why I was asking myself, why would I just feel that? It has to be the Lord calling me for something that I don't know for now. But it's always good to obey rather than to sacrifice. So I then decided to quit, to follow that calling, and I knew that people would not understand, but it's something that was burning on my heart. So I went away for 4 years. And I started to walk in a different way, in a different journey. When that was happening, I found the Lord, and had a better understanding of what I'm actually supposed to do. So I'm a very people say I'm a very weird character because I make decisions that are sometimes very bold. And sometimes the decisions that I make are not understood. Only years later or months later is when people look back and think, how do you think about that? So, I mean, that's how I go. Sometimes when I make those decisions, I won't even be understanding them myself, but I know that my heart does not lie to me. And if I just follow my heart, I know that it will end up right. So that is what happened. I know a lot of people are excited that I'm back in the on the administration side. A lot of people are pushing for me to play again, which I just laugh about and go on, because I know that my life is guided by another power, that and it's not me that that make all these decisions. So I don't put any full stops to anything. I just put a comma and I go on until I'm led in another direction. So that's what happened to me.
I do not know how to put anything less than 100%, says Taibu. Do not go away. The second segment of the Legends. Into my right side is our very own former captain, wicket keeper and batsman of Zimbabwe. Certainly understand cricket requires a lot of time and commitment. How did you manage it?
Well, it's a very detailed sport, very complex sport. My first coaches had a lot to do with that, because we used to practice every day, and we used to practice hard, and we're not allowed to make mistakes. It was quite tough, but as kids, you just like to run around and throw a ball and catch a ball. So when I then made the decision that I wanted to represent the country, and not only that, I wanted to be world #1 at some stage, I knew that I needed to work harder than the normal person would work. So I started going, when I started traveling, I started going around to the players that I thought were the best in the world, and I would ask them how they practice, on their individual practices. And I took on average, the time that they used to give on their own game, and I decided I would do a bit more than what they were doing. So to be able to do that is quite difficult, because cricket is it's quite an expensive sport. So I saved up some money. I wasn't big into shopping and using money and cars and things like that, so I always had a bit of money on the side. So I bought my own bowling machine. Normally a team will have a team will have a couple of bowling machines, but I bought my own bowling machine. I put up a net at my house and bought my own balls. And besides the team practices that we had, I would then have my own 2-hour practice sessions, and sometimes I would hit balls until I'll get blisters in my hands from just hitting a lot of balls. And I did that away from people, because if I felt that if I was practicing with people, and when the other people leave, I would probably practice for another 30 minutes, an hour, and think, you know what, all the other guys have left, let me just go as well. But I always used to think, if I'm practicing alone, I'll keep pushing myself until I feel I can't go anymore. So yes, there was a lot of hard work, and the fitness part of it, I'm still benefiting from it, because when I went away for 4 years, I hardly did any fitness, but I only put on 2 kgs, which is nice. Back then I used to run 8 kilometers twice a week, just straight running, and then in between those days I would do my shuttle running, press up, sit-ups, go to Guanzura Stadium and do shuttle running up and down the stairs, and I did that every time until it was almost like a religion, to work on my fitness, work on my game, and that determination, I think part of it I learned from Andrew Flower. And I didn't only work hard, but I also worked smart. I had everything written down, how I was feeling, what I had eaten before a game, the weight that when I played well, the weight that I'll be weighing, which at that time, for most of my career, I had to be 64 to feel the best, in my on my agility, and all this, I think, helped in making sure that I achieved the few things that I achieved.
Okay, still on that, maybe you'd want to tell me, I understand you got a chance to share the pitch with great experienced people like the Flower Brothers, amongst other people. Can you tell me the experience?
Well, I'm more a listener than a talker. So I was always absorbing, especially from Andrew Flower. And I did practice a lot with Grant as well. And I was their father also coached me when I was young, and he was instrumental in me choosing wicket keeping as opposed to bowling, because he organized when I was in grade 5. He organized, or maybe a bit later, he organized cricket equipment from Andy Flower. So I got pads and gloves from a national team player as a youngster. I mean, that was wow for me. So because of that, that's how I took keeping. So it was nice to share the pitch with Andy, and also when we were betting together, he would always tell you tips. And not only them, there was Guy Whittle, was very professional. There was Henry Olonga as well, who I had a good relationship with. And besides our own international players, I was not besides them, but I also had Stuart Hamilton, Fusi. We grew up together, we're friends. And then on the international scene, I had guys that I'd grown up watching on TV, and thinking this guy can play, and all of a sudden you're playing against them. And sometimes when I would then get called for other tournaments outside the country, where they'll get all so-called best players in the world, I would be alongside some of those players, and I was always learning. And even now, if I get an opportunity to sit down with someone, I'm always learning, and it goes beyond sport with me, because you're always learning about life as well. And even I can sit down with a 10-year-old and we'll have a good conversation, and I may be able to pick up one or two things that I will use in my life.
Okay, maybe looking at Zimbabwean cricket now, do you have anything that you would want to change, and why?
Plenty of things that I think I can change, and I think that Zimbabwe cricket could become a force to reckon with, and even to a stage where we could actually bring back the World Cup if Zimbabwe cricket can buy into things that I'll be able to bring in. I know that for a fact, because I don't get what besides the things that I've learned, and the things that I've known over the years. I'm a guy who's still, and because of that, I'm able to just get ideas that's coming. And I know that if Zimbabwe cricket, if the powers be in Zimbabwe cricket will be able to buy into the things that I'll bring in, will definitely be one of the best cricket playing nations in the world. I know a lot of people will question that, looking at the history and all those things, but I definitely am sure and know what I'm talking about.
Wow, passion and talent makes one a great person. Join us after the break.
Tatenda urori, Tatenda urori.
Do you have anyone that you would like to pay tribute to, that if it wasn't for this and this person, I wouldn't have been where I am right now?
Well, there are plenty of people that have played a big role in my life, and sometimes to single out certain people, I'll be in danger of leaving out some of the guys that have played a huge role. Someone would have done maybe one thing, but something that would be massive, and then some would have done maybe plenty, but I can imagine it being a little bit difficult for my wife, Loveness. But she has supported me in all the decisions that I've made. Some of the decisions she would not understand them, but just wanting a supporting hand, was one thing that I really love about her. It's one thing that I really appreciated about her. And plenty of other people that that have assisted along the way.
So maybe any last words to the upcoming youngsters so that maybe they can be where you are right now?
I mean, with anything that you do, if you put 100% to it, and it doesn't matter how many times you fall, but what counts is the number of times that you get up and fight. If they're single-minded and forget about what I call the backing dogs, because you're always going to hear other voices. And normally people like things that are easy, but if it's easy, then everyone will do it. If you go the hard route, you'll get a lot of criticism, you'll get a lot of resistance. But if you keep your eyes, on the goal, then more often than not you find yourself succeeding. But after having achieved whatever the goals, then the challenge is to be a better person after that. And my appeal to all the kids that would want to play cricket is, after all that, is continue to be a good person and a positive addition to the society.
Fortunately, we have come to the end of yet another exciting episode of The Legends. So I must go, but before I go, if you've got any contributions, comments, the details are right there on your screen. So for myself, Maslin, and the wonderful crew that is working behind the scene, goodbye and have a fruitful week.
Tatenda
Bazali